You are currently watching me being filmed on a $2,500 camera setup. And now, I'm being filmed with a $600 camera setup. This is the Canon M50 Mark I, or the OG Canon M50. And is this camera, with all the competition in the market right now, still worth buying in 2022? Let's talk about that. Coming in at $600 for the camera body and the 15 to 45 millimeter kit lens f3.5 to 5.6. The M50 has been a very affordable option for a lot of beginner photographers and videographers and vloggers to purchase as their first camera. When it came out back in February 2018, 4 years ago, it has been selling like hotcakes. Just about every major tech YouTuber has either used this camera on their channel or has done a review about it, raving about the features and the affordability of it. And that is what has set this camera at the top of the YouTube camera game, or the vlogger camera game, because it's packed with decent video features and pretty good photography features, all for $600. However, since February 2018, as we all know, there have been countless incredible and affordable cameras that have come out since then. And so now my question is the Canon M50 Mark I still a viable option? Is it worth it to get a camera that right now is 4 years old? Before I answer that, let's change the scenery, maybe go for a walk. So it snowed in Dallas again for the second year in a row. That's pretty unusual for us, especially considering the amount of snow we've gotten over the past 2 years. So I took this thing out and got some test footage in the format that this camera was made to shoot, which is everyday run and gun vlogging style content. That's what this camera was marketed as a vlogger slash YouTuber camera that you can whip out super easily. It's small. You don't have to worry about programming a ton of technical settings with the camera. It's better than most smartphones, especially when this came out at the time, 4 years ago. However, the problem nowadays is smartphone cameras have greatly improved. So the gap that this camera used to fill is kind of already being filled nowadays with just the improvement in smartphone cameras. So therein lies the problem. Most people already have a really nice smartphone that is pretty much always an option for them to film with. So to come back to my original question for this video, is the Canon M50 Mark I still worth it in 2022? And here's my answer. Yes, but not for everyone. Who is the M50 for? It's for beginners who are just starting out with photography and filmmaking. It's also for enthusiasts who might enjoy adapting higher quality lenses to a cheaper camera body. Okay, it's a new day and I'm wearing a different outfit, but in my mind, the Canon M50 is a bridge camera. It's not meant to stick around with you long term. The point of the Canon M50 to me is that it bridges the gap for beginners buying their first camera so that they can get into, kind of dip their toes into the photography and filmmaking world while saving money to buy nicer lenses and invest in better glass. With that said, in my mind, it doesn't make sense to get the M50 without getting the Viltrox EFM to EF speed booster. The Viltrox Speed Booster, I think, is somewhere around $150 to $200, so that's another cost that will go into making the M50 that much more usable. Just something to think about. On the flip side, who is the M50 not for? It's not for people who know specifically what they need, such as 4K, no crop, reliable battery life, good autofocus and dynamic range in all the settings, etc., etc. So if you have specific needs from a camera, odds are you're not coming from a beginner mentality. You're coming from more of an amateur / pro background, where you're not just looking for any old camera to do the job, even if it's a budget camera. So that brings me to my next demographic, and this might be controversial sounding at first, but I don't think the Canon M50 is worth it for content creators in 2022. And I know that might sound controversial at first, because originally when the Canon M50 came out back in 2018, it was for content creators. It was sort of designed to be an everyday YouTuber, vlogger, content creator camera because it does decent with video and photography. However, we have cameras nowadays with even better specs that do even more decent with video and photography. That makes this camera, in my mind, not as worth it anymore for content creators who are taking photos of products, videos of products, specifically for an online audience, or are doing online social media influencing and marketing. There are much better cameras nowadays that you can get. Now, what I am not saying is that the Canon M50 is complete garbage and it's unusable and that you can't get professional looking results from it. As a pro, if you know what you're doing, you can get good professional looking results out of virtually any camera. Okay, so to summarize everything that we've talked about in this video so far, if you're a beginner, then I think the M50 is a great option for you even still in 2022, especially as a photographer. The video features of the M50 are getting a little bit dated. However, they're still good for beginners, but the photography features in the M50 are still pretty on par for a budget camera. If you are an enthusiast or you're someone who knows that you want to go pro someday in the near future, then I would actually encourage you to go ahead and save up your money for the next best camera in line, which would probably be either the Canon M6 Mark II, the Canon EOS RP, or even the Sony a6000 series cameras. Those are gonna set you back a little bit more, around a few $100s extra. However, I think it's a more worthwhile investment if you're someone who wants to go pro, because those cameras are going to get you down the road a little bit further with the specs and the features that they offer. To me, it's always a worthwhile investment to not just get the cheapest thing on the market, but ultimately at the end of the day, when it comes to camera gear, the most worthwhile investment you can make is going to be in lenses, in solid glass. Those are going to be items that you will carry with you as you upgrade and build your career, getting nicer cameras, because you can move those lenses to different camera bodies. Don't put all your stock in a camera body, because you're just going to end up trading it in or selling it in a few years anyway, because camera technology is always advancing. The most worthwhile investment when it comes to camera gear is going to be lenses. I wish that I would have had someone kind of walk me through buying cameras as a beginner, and so hopefully this video has been helpful to you guys, to provide my insight and my perspective and opinion on where I've come from and where I am today. All right, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Of course, the decision's up to you on what camera to get. Hopefully this video and my perspective and my take on it has been a helpful resource for you in considering what camera to get in 2022. At the end of the day, it's hard to make a wrong decision. Really, ever since 2017, cameras have been coming out that have had incredible specs that you can do just about anything with. So your options are not that limited. It really just depends on what you need or what you think you need as a beginner right now. Bare minimum features that is going to allow you to have a launch pad that's going to let you upgrade to better lenses, get better quality over time as you get more comfortable with your camera, and then eventually purchasing a more prosumer or pro camera like the Lumix S5, which was our first camera in today's video. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications if you want to be notified when I upload more content like this video. And until then, see you in the next video. I don't know why I do those weird hand outro transitions.